Greetings and welcome back to Smartwatch Ticks. I have promised you some new Android watches, and today we deliver. You've not seen this one before, neither have I, till I unboxed it, fully loaded it up, played with it, danced with it. I was going to say took a bath with it, but I don't think it's waterproof, unfortunately. Had a great time with this new Square watch. Yes, if you are a Square aficionado, is that the right way to say that? Aficionado? You're going to love this watch because, oh my goodness, it's one of the most attractive Square watches we have ever seen. Look at this one. Wow, what a beauty. It's got a little protective cover on it. Let's take that off. Oh, did you see that little notch right there? That's a notch around the camera. Yep, front-facing camera on this one. It's called the X11. I'll tell you about it in a minute after we look at the two buttons on the side. It's really a one-button watch with an SOS button. Microphone right there. This side has got the cover for your SIM card. That's where you can put a SIM in it. It does not have removable bands. You can even see the antenna cutouts in the bands. But it's a really nice, very pliable TPU band. Not too stiff around the edges. We'll put it on, show you that in a minute. Good class, interesting pattern in the band. I mean, there's so much unique and different about this watch that we haven't seen before. It's amazing. Nice. It's in silver, this one. It comes in black as well, but I wanted to show you the really nice accents that you have in silver. And the back is a plastic one with 4 screws, and that's where you'd connect your charger. There is no heart rate monitor on this Android watch, however. Okay, let's go deeper into the box itself. See, way down below, we have the charging connector. And as usual, it's the black. They come in black and white. 4-pin magnetic coupler that doesn't go that way, but goes this way. Slaps in there, really strong, can even hold the watch, and that's how you charge it. Those things, and then a manual that, before I show you the manual, don't want to get too far into this without showing you the information. This is from Gearbest. Again, hello Gearbest. Boy, they're just pumping out the watches for us. Thank you. The X11 Android 3G GPS Bluetooth. Now it says heart rate, doesn't it? Interesting. I don't see a heart rate sensor on it. Well, let's look at the specs, see what it says. By the way, check the show notes for a coupon and link to get that watch at a discount. It's got a 2 million, that's a 2 megapixel camera, which is really not all that big, but it does do fine for selfies or video chat capability. Limited in memory, 512 megabytes, 4 gigabytes. I'm really not happy seeing that low. This is like old technology in a world where we just showed you a screaming 2 gigabytes, 16 gigabytes watch. Limitations of 512 means you cannot do offline speech-to-text recognition. We have a video up on that. Limitation of 4 gigabytes, well, that has to hold everything, including the operating system and the firmware. So this is a watch you're not going to beef up with a whole lot of Android apps. You might put a few on there, half a dozen specific ones that you want to use. But you're not going to be really, I'm not happy with that. However, it does say it's got a TF card capability for adding external storage. You cannot put your apps on that external storage. You're limited to try to squeeze it all in here. So again, you're not going to have a lot of apps, but you could listen to a lot of music. You could record a lot of video. You could do like a whole selfie video log as long as you can record directly from the camera to the TF card and then transfer that over to your computer or your Instagram or your Facebook or wherever you want to do it. It'd be interesting to know if you can do the Facebook live video streaming with this watch. So anybody that does that kind of thing and wants to check it out for us that buys the X11, please report back. And if you want to, give us your link to a video chat you've done with the X11. In the meantime, things like Hangouts and some of the others that support video chat, Skype, all that stuff should be supported on this watch. It's a 320 by 320, which is like the minimum I would recommend. When you get down to 240 by 240, the resolution and some of the other problems you have with apps just aren't there. But it's all right, 320 by 320, 2 megapixel, limited camera. Good sized battery though, 450 milliamp hour. They call it a silicone band. All right, I just get them all confused. Silicone, rubber, TFU. It's not leather. I'll put it that way. It's the band that's not leather. And basic compatibility. Okay, again, Gearbest. Now, let's look at the manual. It's in Chinese there. Probably opens up that way into English. Here we go. Okay, I'd like to show you the whole thing. They're breaking it down to show you that you use a nano SIM on this. That's the smallest one, and it goes into the side pocket right there. There's more information here. Summary of the product. And then you've got the navigation page. Now notice that it's showing, sorry I have to point with my little finger, showing 6 icons per page. That's an option that you can do on this one because it's a square watch. You can have either 4 or 6. That's how you navigate on the watch. There, I'm sorry, can you read all the writing now? Okay. And then the last page of information from the English manual. The rest is all Chinese. They're not showing a QR code for scanning for a tethering app on this watch. That's interesting. Not sure if the tethering is supported on it. We'll have to see what we can find on that. Okay, are you ready to really dive into this and see what this beautiful square Android watch can do? Me too. With 2 buttons on the side, the bottom one is the one we use to activate it. Press and hold. It'll say Android and start booting up. Now, the top button is going to be strictly for an SOS function after you program in a phone number. Ooh. Nice intro. We haven't seen that one before. Program in a phone number, and then you can press and hold, and it'll do an automatic dialing of that phone for you. Of course, you have to have a SIM card and all of that stuff in there. You can't use it for anything else. You can't program it for anything else. And you have to have the SIM. So it's kind of dysfunctional unless you're really going to actually set it up. But otherwise, you use this bottom button for everything. Now, while it's booting, I want you to take a good look at that screen. Look at it, it's curved. Yeah, the screen itself is actually curved. It's really cool. It doesn't lay flat when you set it down. It actually will rock a little bit. So it's really got a curved screen to it. It's got quite a few different watch faces, and good news and bad news. It does do custom faces, but I'll show you that in a moment. Here's a starting one. Let's press and hold and go over to the beginning. They're all labeled X11 dash and then 1 through whatever, and they're unique to this watch. Now it's really bright right now. There we go. We got the display brightness. Let's get it about right there. That makes it a little bit easier to see. How's that? Okay, that's a first one. We took a look at the second one. Here's a third one, and this is a digital one with the time and the seconds running across the middle. I'll spend a little time on these because they're all unique. They're really unique to this particular watch, and some of them are really designed to work well in a square. Here is like a space shuttle shot. Where the Earth is spinning underneath, clicking every second, and you've got the time and date. And that's pretty nice. You haven't seen it on yet, have you? Here is basically, because it's curved, it curves with the arm, and that's basically what it would look like. It's a very attractive watch. Okay, take another look at some more of these watch faces. Now, I'm going to point out something. There you go. It's kind of really hard to see the hands on this one. They're really dark, but they're there. The operating system is a bit sluggish so far on this because I really have it loaded up with apps, and because of that light memory that it has on board, it's taking a while to stabilize for me, and that's a bit frustrating. Again, if it had more RAM, at least 1 gigabyte of RAM, and more storage space, more than just the 4 gigabytes, that would be really beneficial. But it doesn't, and so I've got more in here than I should have. If you're conservative on the number of apps you put in and which kind, you probably can do really well with it. It's still a bit bright. That's actually kind of a gold right there that's coming through, but it washes out in the camera to be white. Really hard to get that alignment just right. Here's a bright white watch face, and here's a way that you can kind of see the quality of that screen. Try to turn it this way too. Watch it disappear because it's curved. You see the screen disappearing from the top first? And the other way, it does it from the bottom. I like that. That's pretty unique. Real obvious on a bright screen like that. There's your standard black screen. And now we are into my custom watch faces. These are not the standard ones, but these are the old ones that you used to use when you put custom faces in the KW88. You remember the original method where you had to make these into an APK, an application, and then you installed the application by running it. You know, you copied it over and you ran it like you would a regular app, and it would get installed as an app, but it would just show up as a watch face. Well, that's these. These are my own selection from a variety of sources. We're not going to go into a lot of that, but I just wanted to demo for you that you do indeed have the ability to put in custom watch faces, but with the caveat that you have to use the old system to do it. Now, the layout of the watch. If you scroll down, you get the standard display showing you your percentage of power with a circle and whether you have a SIM card or, I'm not sure, what is that? The other one, a Wi-Fi connection? Here's, no, the Wi-Fi is over here. Here's your overall screen with sound or silence, your twist wrist to see the time, airplane mode, cellular, and location services. Your low, medium, or high, which will change the brightness if you're not using the display brightness, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi connection. And then, wow, that's really bright, sorry. The pedometer, your number of steps, your step program shows up here as the third tab. Okay. Then, when you scroll to the left, you'll get your notifications like you do on most smartwatches. If I scroll up, you get your weather screen, and it accurately shows you the weather in your area, and it's like all the rest of the Android watches. It's in degrees centigrade, and the display is exactly the same. And then you scroll once more to the right, you get your application tray, and one more time you get the music player. So, from the apps, you have your standard contacts, phone, and messaging, which work with the SIM card, not Bluetooth calling, mind you. Have not seen the capability for doing Bluetooth tethered calling from this Android watch yet. You have your overall settings, which when you go into them is standard sound and display. Here's something interesting. The app style, you have matrix or you have sixth. Now when I go there, there you go. You see it? It's switched. It's getting 6 per page instead of 4. And it's like that all the way through. So that's something you can do on this square watch that we haven't been able to do on round ones and haven't really seen that before. Okay, now we're back to the 4x. Then you have your connection, which is, of course, where your Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and you can use this as a Wi-Fi hotspot watch with airplane mode, GPS, and you can restrict your app background usage to save on your data, I presume, over there. You have a mobile assistant. That's the QR code you need to scan in order to tether this watch, okay? And it's not mentioning which one it is. I imagine it's the WII one, but we'll have to scan it and check it out. Gestures for twisting your arm to see the time, and the pedometer services. Those are both turned on. And by way of doing this, let's turn it off. Let's twist it and show you that it shows the old digital time, just like on the original KW88. So the implementation of firmware on this watch has not been updated for either the twist the arm to show the actual watch face you selected or the way you install custom watch faces. It's a step back, basically. Oh, we scooped ahead too far. That was gesture. Then, of course, we got the power savings area, your overall language and inputs. And since it's kind of a different watch, let's look at the languages supported. In case internationally you would like to be working with this watch in a language other than English. There's the list. Looks pretty standard. We're in English. And then, of course, you can do your own custom keyboard and all that kind of stuff. Voice input. Once again, the ability to do speech to text recognition offline requires more memory than this watch will support. Not that it's so much a memory limitation, which it is, but Google just simply won't recognize and let you do that if you have anything less than 1 gigabyte. Okay. We were down through there to date and time, your standard stuff. You can use AM and PM, set your time zone, all of that. Resetting the equipment, uninstalling applications. This is that special quick SOS button here, which you can turn it on and SOS message that would go out in a text message, and you can add the phone number from your contacts list by tapping in there. And I'm not sure. Let's see what happens if I press it. It vibrated. That's all it did because I don't have it set up with a number to send a text message. So it's going to send a text message out. It's not going to make a phone call. That's good we checked that out. Then there's the About the Watch, which is where we get the specific information, which shows you that this is the X11 with the kernel version of Saturday, June the 10th, 2017, rather old firmware there. And then there's the build number. And of course, if there's an update that hopefully would add all sorts of other things to it, we tap there and we tap there, and it'll go out and check the network to see if there's an update. You need to be on Wi-Fi. You need to have all that set up. And over-the-air update needs to be supported. If your watch just sits and twirls like this, it usually means either the server's down or it's not supporting over-the-air update, in which case you need to find a source for the firmware and flash it manually if you want to get enhanced capabilities. Because it seems to be older with the way the twist your wrist to show time and the way you install custom watch faces appear to be on this watch, it seems to be dated. It should have updated firmware to bring it up to 2018, but no saying that it actually does. And because it's constantly twirling here, even though I'm on Wi-Fi, it's telling me that it doesn't really support that over-the-air update capability. Well, that's pretty much it for settings. Then you've got clock, which is basically your alarms that you can set. A sound recorder that sounds like this. Hello, testing 1, 2, 3. We are here talking to you. Are you hearing us? We say done. We say save. And it's saved. And now we should be able to play it. Not terribly loud. I can hear it really well, but probably, unless you turned your speaker up, you didn't hear it too well. It works. There's louder ones, I'm sure, but this one, it's not so soft you can't hear it. That's good news. You have a calendar, basically, your file manager, which is where you get in here to see how much memory you've got. Now, you notice that down here. That's all the amount of memory that's left, folks, after I've put in a few different apps. You really only had 2 gigabytes total to work with. That's sad. That's sad. I'm sorry. That's sad. A 4 gigabyte total memory watch in today's market it better be something really special and have other features like the attractiveness of the square watch. Otherwise, I'd say pass on this one. Hopefully, there'll be a bump up in memory in the future. Still got to check out that TF card stuff too. If there's a backup way of saving in this watch, that might be a saving grace, but just with 4 GB, that's really lame. Browser, basic built-in browser. Here's the remote stuff. When you're tethered to your watch, you can do a remote camera. You have the remote control for music, and there's your basic music to play music you have installed, but you don't have any memory except for 2 songs. Google Play Store is in here, the Google Maps, Google Play Music, and the Play Music needs a bunch of memory in order to buffer the songs. You'll find that out even on a robust watch. If you use Google Play Music, it does take quite a bit of memory to actually work, and I'm not even sure it will work on this watch without more memory. This is remember to drink water, sedentary reminder, and so forth. These are just little reminders you can turn on and off for repeated alarms during a certain time period. Looks like a heart, so I could see where it could be mistaken on quick first impression that this is for doing your pulse, your heart rate. But as we can see, there's no heart rate monitor on here. So that's more a reminder app than it is anything related to health directly. You have a gallery for any pictures that you take with your camera that store in that limited memory. And here you go. Wow, there's the bottom of my phone filming you. See the little blinky light? That's the infrared laser focus thing going off, which is pretty cool. And I'll say hi to you. Hi, everybody. In fact, I'm going to record a little video. Hello, this is Mr. Tix talking to you from above the watch with a front-facing camera. Toodaloo! And I'm saving it. Let's bring it up and play it. Oh, I have 2 choices. Photos, Google Photos, which means you could upload them to the cloud. Ha! If you get yourself logged into Google, that would be sweet. And then just an onboard video player. And we will do this. Okay, you can hear me, you can see me. That is what you'll have in terms of video chat capability. So it works, the camera. Then you got a pedometer, you've got the Google setup for Google Plus, I guess. Or your overall Google settings. And just a word of warning about this, when you mess around with your Google settings on your watch, I think you're messing around globally on your account, which would affect your tablet, your phone, your TV, everything else. So you might want to get on something that's got a little bit bigger writing if you're going to modify your Google settings. There's Photos, Google Photos. That's cool. So even if you don't have the expanded memory in here, you may be able to upload what you store directly to the cloud through that. And that's all the stock software that's in here. This is the ones I've added. There's the display brightness that we talked about to adjust the screen. I'll have a link down below in the show notes to the folder that has a document that lists all the different apps that we recommend for smartwatches, including a direct link to download the display brightness. Open Camera is a different camera app. I put that in there to kind of play with this camera, see how well it does. It's a nice one to work with on smartwatches. Google Hangouts. A thing I've noticed about Hangouts on any of these front-facing camera watches or watches in general, we're not able to set it up to call out. There's some sort of a bug, and it doesn't seem to be functional to initiate a call, but if a call comes into you, to your Google Hangouts, you can answer it, and then you can engage in that back and forth video call. But you have to be on the receiving end. And obviously it's an issue with Google because it's happening on all the different watches. YouTube and Find Me. Find Me is a part of the system. YouTube 2, I think, came installed. And this is, of course, finding your phone when you're tethered there. There's a Google News Reader that comes with it, and then there's the weather app. That's been installed on here. Oh, here's voice search, Google, and Google Plus. All that's within the watch, comes as standard software, and that's accessing, of course, your OK, you know what feature to be able to interrogate the watch to the Google services. Now, setting search is the one that we always recommend putting in because this gives you a lot of access to some great features behind the scenes on these smartwatches, including accessibility. When you go in here, you get into this page, which otherwise is normally not available to you through the firmware overlay, but it is part of the operating system. And if you go down here to magnification gesture and you make sure you turn that on, you see that all that tiny print there? If I triple tap like like this, there, it comes up big and you can read it. You see? So on a tiny little watch, it's great to have that. Of course, you can't do much with it if it's too big. However, if instead, if I can get it to go back, there we go. If I triple tap and hold, wow, this is being picky. It's good for you to see all of this. Ah, it did it, but it was a slow time delay, and I let go. I have to do it and not let go. All right. Now you see I can roam around by moving my finger, so I could read the sentences from left to right. I could see the whole thing. You kind of need this on that news reader if you're really going to try to read it, unless you've got excellent eyes. It gets to be a bit of a problem. But anyway, you got to that in accessibility, and you could do that through this settings search, or you can use the this Google app that is called Gesture Search to do the same kind of thing. And then here's a bunch of testing apps. There's the AIDA 64, which will show you the what's in your watch. Can you read all that? I hope so. Put it on your large screen TV otherwise. Okay, and there's some basic information, including the amount of memory that's on board. And then you've got your CPU information about the processor that's in this watch. And now the display, and there's the display parameters that you have with the screen. Okay, so that's all in here. And then the Antutu benchmark. And because of its low memory, we're not getting a very high score relatively, 14,930, about 15,000 on this watch. Would not run the graphics or any of the 3D stuff either. Again, simply because we really don't have very much RAM or storage on here. Now, beyond here, where are we? Doesn't want to exit going that way. That pulls out the side tab. So we'll press the button and bring it back that way. That one, the 3D is connected with that one. Then you've got your engineering mode MTK, which is basically what we've been using to do the location-based services by activating the GPS and giving it permission to turn it on into high accuracy, which it's done. And now we got to turn it on one more time. Uh-oh. There we go. Accept all of that stuff. And we're on. And we touch this, and we see the satellites. There they are. So it's going to go out and acquire the GPS signal if it can. We always try to give it a few seconds. There's the antennas, we hope, and the band's working. If it can do it indoors, it will. Most of them don't. They need to be acquired outdoors. And then I can show it to you. So I'm going to run it outside for a few seconds, and I'll be right back. Well, I had to turn the brightness way up so I could see it outside. Okay, look, nothing. Generally, if GPS is connecting in with its receivers, you'll see little bars come up here. They'll be red. And these will be red, and then they'll slowly turn green as they actually acquire the satellite. It does appear to be showing the map of the satellites, but I'm getting absolutely no reception whatsoever. Such a nice watch. No GPS, no heart rate monitor, maybe no TF card. We got to take the back off and see. Oh well. Frustrating. Let's bail out of that because we, on this particular unit, are not getting any GPS. I left it out for quite a while and reoriented it. In terms of speed tests, though, this is where we could check the speed of the Wi-Fi or the cellular if we put in a SIM card. This should be connected to the Wi-Fi right now. So let's see if it gets a connection. And it can measure our overall data speed. Going to begin test. And it should be pinging the server now. And when it does, it'll go through the... Oh, okay, it's screaming up there pretty good for Wi-Fi. Looks like over 30. What's it got? Oh yeah, 45 megabits per second. And this is on Spectrum, at least 50 gigabit, maybe even 100 gigabit overall. And decent numbers, 45 and 12. Probably not going to do a SIM card in this one because it's in service somewhere else right now. But if we get 3G data, that's where you would see it on here as well in speed test. And then some other things. These interface with the camera. This is kind of a fun thing where you can do your heart rate. Getting around the lack of a heart rate monitor here. This little piece of software should let us do that as long as there's enough bright light that it can get a signal off of the camera. Okay, now I got to touch the screen and at the same time put my finger over here. You see it's actually, the camera is working, but if I put my thumb over it, that lets it read my capillaries. And hopefully there's enough light in here. You see the circle going around. It should start acquiring all sorts of data. And this has a chart showing up at the bottom. That's my heart wave. There, now we're getting some data. You see the red circle going around the white? It's finally acquired what it needed. Now it's collecting enough data to verify that it's accurate. Okay. I normally wouldn't take this long to spend on this, but because it says it has heart rate and we don't have heart rate directly, it's worth it to let you see that. And there it wants me to send the data out. Okay, so there's the heart wave, and there's all the specific data that it got from testing. Exactly the same way if we had the thing down here. It's just that there's that green diode that shines light into your body, and it's kind of a camera sensor of sorts that picks that up. Well, here it's using your actual built-in camera and ambient light to get the data. So if you're interested in having heart rate, in addition, blood pressure, using PPG technology and so forth, you can get all that from this app, which is called the iCare Blood something or other. Check the show notes. I'll give the link for you down there. Django is a radio player. I've just thrown that on. An Apus browser is the browser of choice that I typically use on these smartwatches. And those are all your installed apps and some of my extra apps that I've thrown in there just to test this watch out. All right, that covers pretty much all of it, except, extra storage. So again, the specs for the X11 clearly state that there's an external memory card capability for a microSD or TF card up to 32 gigabytes for additional storage. If that's true, where is it? Okay, it's not in the SIM slot on the side over here. That's where you put the SIM card in, and when you open it up, you can see it's just a single slot, not too bright, to slide a SIM card in. It doesn't take a TF card. Sometimes there's a little tray that can come out and you can put a SIM on one and a TF card on the other, but this is strictly a place where you insert the SIM card. So I've carefully taken the back off of this. I got screws falling out to see if we can put it in the back. That's about as far as I can open this, because if you look inside, we've got wires down in here attaching the battery to connectors. There's no place for a TF card. These are all chips and things. You see in there? In fact, it's not meant to be for the back to be removed at all. So there's no other place for a TF card. I'm going to say that that's an error in the listing. Also, I wanted to point this out. May not be this way on yours, but look at the back here. Look at how it's kind of, the plastic is melted or lifted up a little bit right there in that section. And even though there's a little grommet, you can see it in there. When you attach this down, that little bulge could allow water intrusion. It's not claiming any kind of water proofing or giving an IP rating, and I would definitely not get this one wet. The speaker's right there. And as far as I could tell, I don't know if it's actually shielded from within. But I'm going to have to be very careful to get that grommet realigned and put it back together. Okay, back together, but still a little dangerous right in that corner. I really want to like this watch. I really do. I really do like this watch. It's just its limitations are annoying. Way limited on memory. We've covered that. No heart rate monitor, even though the listing declares there is one. And I don't know. Just in general, it could be a great watch, but with such small amount of memory, no additional TF card support. The front-facing camera could be used for video conferencing, but you're not going to do much in the way of picture taking or especially video recording for much extended time with just a limited onboard storage that you've got 4 gigabytes, most of which is taken with the operating system and the few apps that you can put in there. Okay, well, it's a definitely beautiful beginning, the X11, and we really appreciate Gearbest for sending it out, letting us take a look at it, examine it, explore it, find some problems, and get it hopefully rectified. When you check the listing, check the show notes down below. Hopefully, heart rate monitor will be removed because it doesn't have one, as you saw. And in the actual tech listings, you're going to find that the TF card is not there, and hopefully that will be strucken from the record as well. And you'll get an honest listing for an honest product and be able to pick it up at a discount. You've been watching Smartwatch Ticks. This is a review of the X11 Square Watch, Android, full Android 5.1. And we'll be back again soon with more goodies.